Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel IP Tech Lab. So this is going to be the sets in Python part 2 of our Python tutorial series. And in the last part, we covered a lot of things about sets in Python. So the things that we covered were like we learned some prerequisites to learn sets in Python. We talked about those. So you must be familiar with those things going forward to learn more set methods and all other set remaining items that we will cover in our upcoming tutorials. And we learned what is a set, its characteristics and uses. And then we learned how to create empty and non-empty sets. And after that, we learned important set methods like add, clear, remove, discard, and copy. So all these things were covered in my first tutorial, which was the part 1 of sets in Python. So in case if you don't have the link, I will mention this link in my description box as well for this video. Also, you can check my channel IP Tech Lab directly on YouTube, and then you will be able to see my first part for sets in Python. All right, so after this, so let me go to my PyCharm, and this was what uh, we covered in our first part of sets in Python part 1. So now let's go forward, and then last method that we learned in the part 1 was copy method. And we learned that copy method returns a shallow copy of the set. So basically, whichever is your existing set, like here we had on line number 102, we had S3 as our existing set. And then we assigned the S3 object, S3 reference variable to another reference variable, which was S4. So we talked about this in the last video as well, and it meant that so this physically this is only one object in the memory, right? And then it is referred to by two different reference variables. One is S3 and other is S4. Now what we meant by this is like if you make any changes to S3, those are automatically going to be updated in S4 because these are not two different objects. Physically it's only one object. So let's say if I give you an example, like let's say we do s3 dot add 10, right? Let's say we add 10 integer to s3. Now it is going to change s3 as well as it is going to change s4 as well, because s4 is also referring to the same object, which is this one. And S3 is also referring to the same object. So whatever changes we are going to make to S3, it's automatically going to be updated in S4 as well. So after this, if we have to print, let's say S3 updated, and then we print the value of S3, right? And then we do the same for S4. And then we should be able to see that these both are the same. So let me save it and let me run it. And as you can see, the S3, after we added 10 to S3, it updated the S3, but also the S4 was updated also. So this means that it is only one object in the memory. And if you make changes to either S3, like S3, then S4 will be automatically updated, right? So this was the difference basically between when we talked about the assignment operator, what assignment operator is doing here. And after that, we talked about this S3 dot copy method. So as we spoke that S3 dot copy will give you a new set, new shallow copy of the existing set. So here the things change. And then as when we check the ID, the location of S3 and the S5 object in the memory, it was different. So that means like after here, like after line 114, when we just added another element 10 to our set S3, now instead of these, let us try to print here S5, right? S5 updated. Oh no, something happened. And then let us print the value of S5. Okay, let me save it. And let me also print S3 here. S3. And then you run it. So as you can see here, the results are different than when we compared previously when S3 and S4. So this means that because S3 and S5 are two independent copies and there are two different objects in the memory, so whatever changes we are making to the S3 object, those are not automatically updated to S5 because S5 was just another separate copy of S3. And in future, if we make any changes to S3, those will not be automatically updated to S5. Right? So I hope this will clear all the doubts for the copy method. And then now let's move forward to our next method. Okay, so next method is our update method. And let me copy this print statement from here. And then we go down here, let me paste it, and we change it to update method. Right, and then I have the code here for update method, which I'm going to copy from here. I'm going to paste it over here. All right, so let's see what update method does. So update method updates the set by adding individual items from other iterables. So just like an add method, what add method does is it either takes a single element or a tuple, or even add method can take an iterable as well, but it has to be one element, just like we added a string as well. So, but for whenever we use add method, it can only take a single parameter, like it has to be one single element. But over here, as you can see, the parameters it says, it can take multiple iterable objects separated by comma, and its return type is none. So, which means that it makes changes to the existing object and it does not give us a new set object, right? So which we are going to see practically so we can understand it better. So let me create another set here S6 and let me add elements to it. So let me go with 1 2 3 4 and 5. These are my elements of the set. And let me do a short print statement here where I say S6, and this will be original set. And let me just print the value of S6. Now after this, now if I try to update an integer, what is going to happen? Let's find out. So I'm using S6.update and I put integer over there. 100 is an integer. And now let's see, let me try to print the value of S6 now. So it is not going to happen because update method, it says here on point number 4 that if you try to add a non-iterable object, then it will give type error. For example, if we try to add integer to a set with the update method, then update method will give us a type error. So let's run it. And then here, as you can see here, we got the error. It says type error, int object is not iterable. So basically, whenever we try to add any non-iterable objects, and if we are trying to pass those as parameters to the update method, then update method will give us type error. Okay, so let me just remove this line here, and since this is not going to work, so I will just comment this line. I'll just comment this line, and then let me add some note over here. I will say that type error, it will give you type error because int object is not iterable, right? So this is one point which we need to remember about the update method. Now another point is that let's make use of this point. So it says like we can pass multiple parameters to the update object and by separated by comma, but all those multiple parameters must be iterable objects. So let's see how it works. So let me create two iterable objects first. So I'm going to create a list here. So I'm using L7, which will just a name for the list. So let me have some elements in the list like 20, 30, and 40, right? And next I'm going to take a tuple, so which will be T8. I'm just going to create a tuple, and I'm going to have different elements in there. So Python, then Java, then JavaScript, right? Okay. So we have one list over here, and then we have a tuple over here. Now what we are trying to do is we are trying to update our set S6 with the elements of this list and the tuple, right? So let me use S6 dot update, and then it said that we can use multiple parameters by using a comma. So let me update the set S6 by the list first, by the elements of the list, and then we use the second one as a tuple, right? So let me save it, and once it is updated, let me print a statement here, which will be S6, and this will be after update. After update. And let's print the value of S6 here, right? Now this will clear all the doubts which we have right now. Let me run it. Okay, so here we started with the update method, line number 114, and the output of that is right here. After that, what we did is we created a set S6 1 2 3 4 5, and then we printed this line original set 1 2 3 4 5. These are the elements of that set. Now after that, what we did is we created a list which had three elements 20, 30, 40, and then we created a tuple which had three elements, three strings, Python, Java, and JavaScript. Then we updated the set S6 with the elements of the list and the elements of the tuple. So, and then we printed this line. So let's see what it printed over here. So S6 after update. So after update is like the existing elements in the set are already there. Nothing is going to happen to them. And then after that, we added a list 20, 30, and 40. So 20, 30, and 40 were three integers which were elements of the list, and it update method, what it did is it added all those elements one by one into the set. So if you can see the difference here, the add method, if it was add method over here, first of all, it will give you an error because add method cannot take multiple parameters. But update method can take multiple parameters like a list, comma, tuple. So comma separated, you can give multiple parameters to the update method. But add method will only take one parameter. Another thing is if we try to add, let's say, for example, a tuple, this tuple to the set with the add method, then it will add the whole tuple as single element to the set. But here, what is happening with the update is that it is taking each individual element separately from the tuple. Like all three strings are taken separately by the update method, and it is updating the set S6 individually by those three elements. So inside the set S6 now, you don't see any list or a tuple because the update method did not update it by taking the whole list as one element or a whole tuple by one element. Instead of that, it took individual element from each from the list as well as from the tuple, and individual elements were added as each single elements to the set. So I hope this is clear with the update method. And then now also let's quickly see the difference between the add and the update method. So to do that, let me copy that from here and we go here. Now this is going to be another interview question where they ask you this difference between add and update method, right? And then I have some code over here. So let me just take that. All right. I'm going to paste it over here. Okay. So this is what it says about difference between add and update. So add method only takes one parameter as we were just talking about, and it can be an iterable object or it can be a non-iterable object. So add method can take 100, which as an integer as well. Add method can also take an iterable as well, or non-iterable object, both of them. But whereas the update method can take multiple parameters separated by comma, but all the objects must be iterable objects. So update cannot take non-iterable objects. Right. The other difference is that add method will add the whole iterable object as a single element to the original set, and which we are going to see again in the example here. Whereas update method will add individual items from iterable object as a single element to the original set. So what this means is, let me create another set here. S9 is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3, and then I'm going to do a print statement here. It says S9 original set, then comma S9 here. Okay, now after this, so if I try to uh, add, let's say if I try to add here, and if I try to add a list, right? Now, what is going to happen here? And if I try to print S9 after, right? So let me try to run it. Now we already got an error. It says unhashable type list. So unhashable type list, it is not going to work with the add method. So all the elements have to be hashable. And then other thing here is like, let me put a comment here. Type error because a list can't be part of set since list is unhashable, right? Now we are going to try another thing over here. So let me, since this is going to give us an error, let me comment this line. Okay. Now in the next line, what I will try to do is I'll try to add a tuple here. Then let me try to add a tuple with 10 and 20. And then let's see what happens here. Let me do a print statement here. S9 after adding tuple. After adding tuple, right? Okay, now let's print S9, value of S9. Okay, now let's save it and let's run it now. Okay, so this is what is happening here. So we had our existing set S9 with 1, 2, 3, right? Which is the original set here. And then when we tried to add a list by using the add method, it did not work because the list is not hashable. And after that, we tried to add a tuple, 10, 20. Now what add method did is 1, 2, 3 are already there. Now add method, what it did is it took the whole tuple as a single element and just it added the whole tuple as a single element to the set. So it's not like the update method, because if we are going to use the update method, it's gonna produce different results. So let's say the example of update as well. So like let me do s9 dot update, and then let me again do the similar thing here. So I'll take a tuple here and I'll do 30, 40, right? So now let me do print here, print statement. And what I will do here is S9. And this will be after update tuple elements. And then let me print the value of S9. And let me save it and let me run it. Okay, now we can clearly see the difference between the add and the tuple. So what we had here was S9, which was 1, 2, 3. After that, we printed this line S9 original set, which is right here. After that, we added a whole tuple 10, 20 as a whole tuple by using the add method. And then we printed the value of S9. So S9 after adding tuple, it says it added the whole tuple as a single element to the set, 10, 20 as a tuple. And then after that, we use the update method, not the add. And then the similar thing, just like we used the tuple here, we used another tuple, but this time we used update method here. So what update method did is after updating the elements, this is 1, 2, 3, which is already there. Then this tuple is already there, 10, 20 with coming from the add method. But this 30 and 40, these are added as individual elements to the existing set. This is 30 and 40, they are no longer in the form of a tuple here. So this is the difference between add and update. So add method will add the whole iterable object, this whole iterable object, this whole tuple as a single element to the original set here. And whereas update method will add individual items from the iterable object. Individual items from the iterable object means like this is a tuple, and individual item here is 30 is individual item, and then 40 is another individual item. So this is what it means by update method will add individual items from iterable object as a single element to the original set, right? So I hope the things are clear between the add and the update here. And let's try to do uh, okay. Now just like the same way we took this example of passing a list as a parameter to add. Now let's pass a list to the update method. So when we pass a list to the update method, like let's say 50 comma 60. So I took a list here 50 comma 60 and I'm passing it as a parameter to the update method. Now let's see, I'll do another print statement here, S9 after update elements from list, right? And then let's print out the value of S9 here. So now you should understand this one very easily, because let me run it. Okay, until here we were clear, but the last thing that we did is we used a list. We passed a list to the update method and and what update method did is it took individual elements from the list 50 and 60, and it added those individual elements from the list to the set. Right. So whenever an interviewer asks you whether what will happen if we pass a list to the update method, like what will happen if we try to update a set by passing a list as a parameter. So some people might think that a list cannot be part of a set, so they might say that it will give us an error. But if you are familiar with the update method, you know that passing a list as a parameter to the update method is not going to give you an error, because update method is directly going to add individual elements from the list to the set. So it is not going to add the whole list to the set. So I hope you're clear here with the difference between add and the update method. If you still have any questions, you can comment down below and then I'll try to reply back as soon as possible. Right, so I think now we are ready to move to our next method. Next method will be coming up will be the pop method. So let me just take this and then let me go here. So next method coming up here will be the pop method. Oh no, not this line, sorry. Let me take this. Copy. Line number 162 here. Okay. So now let's learn the pop method. Pop method is easy. It's not that hard to understand. So let me just get the code from here. Copy, and then I come back here and I paste it. Okay, so now let's see what pop method does here. So pop method says that pop method removes and returns a random element from the set. Right? So it will remove and it will return as well the same element from the set, but it can be any random element from the set. Parameters, it does not take any parameters. So we don't have to pass any parameters to the pop method. Return type, as we can already see from line number 1, the return type, it returns a random element from the set with the individual elements return type. Okay, so last thing is that pop method will give key error if the set is empty. So basically, if we try to use pop method on an empty set, then it will give you key error. So let's see this. So let's create a set. I will create a set as 10 here. And I'm going to add a bunch of elements in there. So let me add 10, 20, 30, 40. And then let me add some strings as well. Python. And then Let me add another string Java. Let me also add a tuple here, 60 comma 70 comma 80. So I hope you are clear now with this set. This set has multiple elements. First four are the integers. Then we have two strings. Then the last element of the set is a tuple, right? Now, what we are trying to do here is, let me do a print statement first. So let me do s10 and let me do mark it as original set, and let me print the value of s10. Okay, now after this, if I create a new set, if I say, let's say s10 dot pop. Okay, s10 dot pop. So whenever the return type is none, then we don't have to take its value to a new set. I mean, assign the value to a new set. But pop method has a return type. Pop method returns a random element from the set. So basically, whatever pop method is going to return, let's assign that into a different variable, which will be s11. So I can say like this: s11 is equal to s10 dot pop. So we're using pop method on the existing set, which is s10. And what pop method is going to do, it is going to return a random element from the set, like any element from this set, it is going to return. And we are just going to catch that element in a new variable, which will be s11. So s11 will be a new set object. Okay, now after this, let me use some print statements here. So what we are going to say here is we print s11, and we are going to mention here returned element after pop. Okay, so and then we are going to print the value of s11 here. Also, we are going to use another print statement where we will say type of element returned after pop, right? And then we are going to take type. I will tell you in a second why we are doing this. Type of s11 we will take, and then another print statement. Here we can do s10, and then this will be the original set after pop, right? And then s10. So what is going to happen over here is, see, the pop method, it is going to pop an element from the original set, which is s10. So basically, two things are happening here. A pop method will also make changes to the existing set s10, because whichever element is going to be popped out of this set, it is going to be contained in the s11, and it is also at the same time the s10 will be changed as well, because pop method will take one element from there. So let's save it and let's try to run it now. So now here we started the pop method, and then the first thing we printed was the s10 original set, which was our original set with all the elements here, 10, 20, 30, 40, and then two strings, and then tuple is there. So that's good here. Now after that, what we did is s10.pop, and then we assigned it to s11. Then we printed the s11, and we printed s11 returned element after pop. See, so you can see that it returned a random element from the set, which was 20. So 20 was element was part of the set, and it just returned us a random element. Now the type of this element, the type of the element returned after pop is what we are typing here, type of s11. So type of s11 is again class int. So it is an integer object. So basically, this is what it was saying over here, that in the return type on line number 167 that we have a return type. It says it returns a random element from the set with the individual elements return type. So whether it is a string, whether it is a tuple, or whether it is an integer, whatever element it is going to return, it will keep the same type of the actual element, whatever it is. So if it is an integer, it will return in this integer form. If it is in the form of a string, it will return the element in the string form. So this is what pop method does. Now we saw that it returned random element and its type also we saw. Now here what is happening to the S10 on line 178. So let's see this in the last line of the output. S10 original set after pop. So what it is doing is we as we can see here, there is no 20 here because 20 has been popped out of the set by the pop method. So 10 is there, 40 is there, 30 is there, the strings are there, the tuple is there, but we are not seeing element 20 here. So always remember that pop method does two things. It also make change to an existing object, which was S10 over here. It popped out a random element, which was 20 from the set. So it made changes to the existing set. And also it returned a random element from the set and it returned that same element. And then we got that element here in S11 here. Right. So this was about pop method and I hope this is clear. Now also we can verify here this last point, point number 4, which is pop method will give key error if the set is empty. Now that also we can check very quick here. Let me take another set S12, which we will just take an empty set. So this is how you create an empty set. If you have seen my first part 1 of the set video on my channel. And let's say we use here s12.pop, right? s12.pop. Now what this is going to do, and then after that let's try to print s12, right? So this is an empty set here and we are trying to pop a random element out of an empty set. Obviously this is going to give you an error because there is no element in the set. And how can you pop a random element from an empty set? So obviously when you save it and you run it, as you can see, we got the error here. It says pop from an empty set. It gives you a key error, right? So this point also we verified here, point number 4. Pop method will give key error if the set is empty. Okay. So here I can, this was just to show you, I can comment this line here. I come here, I can comment this line and I can make a note here. So I can write here that it will give you key error. Because of using pop on empty set, right? Okay. So now let's move on to our next method. So the next method will be difference method. So let me take the code from here. Let me copy this line and then go over here, paste it. This will be coming up will be difference method. Difference method. So now the upcoming methods are such that like difference update, symmetric difference update. Then we will have union and we'll have a bunch of things. So upcoming methods will be such that we will also be covering the use of the operators with sets. some of the operators with sets we will cover, like the arithmetic operators, minus, greater than equal to, the or operator, right? So all those things we will cover. So just give me 1 second here. Let me just copy the code for the difference method. So I got the difference method here, and I'm going to paste it here. Now let's see what difference method does. So difference method, it returns the difference between existing set and other iterables, right? And the parameters, it says one or more iterables comma separated. So to difference method, we can either give one iterable as a parameter, or we can give multiple iterables with separated by comma, and return type. So as you can see, difference method will return you a new set. So what this means is difference method is not going to make any difference to the existing set. An important point here is that it will give type error if there is a non-hashable element in any of the iterables. So this is very important point. So let's see some practical use of this. So let me create another set, which is S13. And then let me add some elements to this, 10, 20, 30, 40, and maybe 50. Now let me take another set, because we need to take multiple iterables here to see the use of the difference method. So I'm taking another set as 14 with elements 30 and 50, let's say. And I'll take one more set here with as 15, which will be just be having one element 60, right? Now, what will happen here if I also take, um, let's say, a list L16 is equal to, let's say I take here 20, 40, right? Now, if I do as 15, or I can say as 13, as let's say as 13 is our original set here, right? If S13 is our original set, and if I say S13 dot difference, and inside here I pass multiple parameters by separated by comma. So my first is S14, and then second one is S15, and the third one will be L16. L16 is a list, and other two are the sets. So now, as you can see, this difference method has a return type. It returns you a new set. So now let's take that new set into a different variable, which will be like, I'll call it S16, right? Now let's see what we are doing here. So we are taking this original set S13, which has these 5 elements, 5 integers, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. And we are taking the difference of this set with S14, S15, and L16. So if I have to explain this in a different way, what difference method will do is, in this line, what we are doing is S16 is equal to S13 minus S14 minus S15 minus L16. So this is a better way for you to understand what difference method will do. Because what we are trying to do is, like, let's say 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 is S13. Now when it will minus the S14, so this 30 and 50 will be gone. 30 and 50 will be gone. Only thing left will be 10, 20, and 40. So from 10, 20, and 40, we are taking the difference of this. So 60. 60 is not there. So it will not make any change. And then the last thing is 20 comma 40. So when we do 20 comma 40, so then like first thing, when s13 minus s14 will happen, what will happen with s13 and s14 here? Let's say s13 minus s14 will give you three elements, like let's say 10 comma 20 comma 40 here, right? 10 comma 20 and 40, because 30 and 50 are there in s14, and it will be gone from s13. Now this will be the output. But from this, further when we took S15 out, S15 means 60. 60 is or not there in S13, so it will not make any difference. So even if you do another subtraction of S15 from here, it will not make any difference, and still your output will be 10, 20, and 40, right? But after this, when we remove the elements of the list, 20 and 40, so out of this, if you take 20 and 40, like after you do L16 here, if you subtract L16 from this, it will be only one element left here. And that element will be only 10, right? So this is what is going to happen here. I just commented this part of the line. So in the next line, let's see use some print statements, and let's see if what we are calculating is right or wrong. So let's say I will say over here as 13 is our original set, right? And then I'll type S13 over here. Now next line, I will say another print statement. I will say S16 here. And then I will say a new set. It is a new set after difference. Okay, and then I'll print the value of S16 here. Now let's say what is happening here. I will try to run it. Okay, so after the difference method, S13 is the original set with all the elements 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So S16 is the new set after difference. So it came out to be exactly what we calculated here, which is just the element 10. So I hope you understood what difference method did. So what it means by dot difference here is that it will take out the common elements which are there in the other iterables from the existing set. So difference method returns the difference between existing set and other iterables. So what was the difference here between this S13 and S14? The difference was like after you subtract the common elements from both the sets, whatever is left from S13, that is your difference. So if you take subtract 30 and 50 from S14, that's how we were left with 10, 20, and 40 as three elements. And minus S15, when we took the difference between S15, there was no difference because S15 has 60, and 60 is not a common element with S13. So it does not make any difference. The last thing which we did is a list. When we took elements of a list and we subtracted it from S13, then obviously the 20 and 40 which were left here were gone, and then only one element was left in the existing set, which was 10. So basically, as we can see here, all this difference, which whatever we got, we have that in our new variable S16, right? And as you can see, even after using the difference method, it did not make any changes to the existing object S13. S13 is still the same. But S16, we took the difference, and then we got S16 as just a set with one element, 10. So this is how the difference method works. And now let's move with the next one. Now we are also going to see here the difference method, how we can achieve it by using minus operator. So let me copy this and then let me come over here and I'll paste this over here. Now what we are going to do here is we are going to use difference with arithmetic operator. And then here I will put that hyphen here. Let me use here. Right. So we can also achieve the same thing, whatever we did with the difference method, by using just the minus operator, the hyphen operator, which is an arithmetic operator. And let me take the code for this from here. So difference between with arithmetic operator. All right. I'll copy this. Let me go back here and I'll paste it over here. Okay, so now let's see what the operator minus does. Now it says that operator minus, this works the same as the difference method, but the only difference that is by using minus operator, we need to use all iterables as sets, otherwise it will give type error. So what it means is, like here we took all the iterables were sets, but the last element was a list, right? So when we took the difference of a set by using S13 dot difference, by using the difference method, so using the difference method, it does not matter if the other iterables are a set or a list or whatever else. It does not matter. As long as it is an iterable, dot difference method will work. It does not matter that if all of them are sets or not. So it even worked with a list, as we saw the example here. But it says minus operator will give us the same results what we got from the difference method, but only condition is that all the iterables should be a set. A list will not work, or a tuple will not work. All of them have to be sets. So let's see some practical examples of this. Now let's say I take another set as 17 and let me use some elements here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 here. And then let me take another set as 18 and I will add elements here 6, 7, 8, right? Now let me add another set as 19, which will be, I add 5, 7 here. Right now, if I say S20 is equal to S17 minus S18 and minus S19, right? So here we are taking the difference. Now we can, if we have to try to manually calculate what will be the result of this. So it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is S17, and we are subtracting S18 from there. So the common elements from S18 to S17 is only 6 and 7, right? So when we do S17 minus S18, we will be left with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because 6 and 7 will be gone. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, from this we are going to subtract 5 comma 7 again for S19. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and here it is 5 comma 7. Only common element is the 5. So 5 will be gone. Now in the end, we will be left with 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that should be our answer here. 1 comma 2 comma 3 and 4. Right? So this should be our S20. Now let's do some print statements here. S17 will be our original set here, right? And let's print out the value of S17. Next, we will print S20. So S20, let's say we say this as a new set after computing the difference. After computing the difference with other sets, right? Okay, now let's say S20. Okay, now let's see here. So let me try to save it and let me try to run it. Okay, so difference with arithmetic operator minus. So we had S17, which was our original set here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what we printed. And after that, we said new set after computing the difference with other sets. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is exactly matching our expected result here. So I hope you understood how this happened, right? And now let's see that, let's take a list here. L21 is equal to, let me take elements of a list as 3 and 4. Now, if I do S21, if I take another set, and if I take S17 minus L21, now this is what is not going to work with the minus operator. Even though this will work if I use S17 dot difference L21, it will work. But it will not work if we are using this minus operator. This is the only difference between minus and the difference dot difference method. So this is what it meant by where it says operator minus works the same as difference method, but the only difference is that by using minus operator, we need to use all iterables as sets. Otherwise, it will give type error, right? Okay. Now let's see here. Now after this, let's try to print the value of S21, right? And let's make sure if it gives us error or no. Yep. So as we expected, it gives us type error because it says unsupported operand type for set and list. So for minus, this is an unsupported operand type. So minus does not work with one of the elements being a set, which is S17, and one of the elements being a list, L21. So this is what it is saying, that the types of both these objects are different. If these are both of these are not sets, then it is not going to work, the operator. But now we have understood this. So let me comment this line, and then let me also mark a comment here. I will say it will give, sorry, it will give type error because one of the iterables is not a set, right? So, but on the other hand, quickly I can show you that S21, if I say S17 dot difference of L21, this is going to work. The minus was not working, but difference will work between different types of objects, set and a list. And now if we print S21 here, and let us try to run it. So see, it is working. This 1, 2, 5, 6, and 7 is the output of this line 221, right? So this I hope you understand the difference between the dot difference method in the set and how the same results we can achieve by using the minus operator, arithmetic operator, and the only difference between using the operator and the dot difference method. So I hope we are all clear on that part. So let me just remove it. So I think we should stop here for the part 2. Well, thank you everyone for watching part 2 of my Python set series. I hope you found this video helpful. And if you have not already checked my part 1, please go to my YouTube channel, IP Tech Lab. There you will see sets in Python part 1, Python tutorial from my channel. I will also leave a link for this in my video description as well. And so if you're enjoying the content, if you want to support my channel, you can join me on Ko-Fi. This is my Ko-Fi page, kofi.com/iptechlab. You can choose to support me over here. And also, if you would like to get my membership on Ko-Fi, you can choose to do that as well. So all you have to do is just go to my membership on Ko-Fi. And once you get the member, become a member, I will share all the documents, notes, and resources from each tutorial video I post on YouTube. So basically, all these code snippets that we are covering in the video itself, I'll be sharing all these things with my members for free. All you need to do is just get my monthly membership. And for those who actually don't want to get monthly membership, they can check out my shop page and they can get access to those resources, the specific resources over here related to any video that I post on YouTube from here. And then they can individually purchase those documents from here. So, thanks everyone for watching my content and liking me. And please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss my future videos and future content. So, your support means a lot, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.